All right, it is 7:02, so we'll call this meeting to order and rise to the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call, Ms. Atchison.
Here.
Mr. Brady? Here. Mrs. Brimmer?
Here.
Mr. Conlon? Here. Mr. Hall is excused tonight. Mr. Hopkins?
Here.
Do you know anything about Mr. Laws?
I recall.
With an absent tonight, Mr. Owens is here. Jim Johnson, our planner, is here. I'll call back our city manager and Rebecca, our clerk. All right, we'll take a look at our minutes from our July 11th meeting. And everybody will need a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any discussion on that? Changes? Anything spotted? Okay.
I just want to quickly make a summary of some of the comments from last week.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. All right, so we have a motion and support to approve those July 11 minutes. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, approval of our agenda for this evening.
Make a motion. I don't think the motion that we move item B in new business, not to old business, because it could be a lengthy discussion, and we'd rather let people out here earlier.
Right. Yeah, that sign ordinance, we have several items with that. So let me just see if this meets with your approval. So we'll take, that's 9, what is currently 9B, the Reed versus Gilbert memo. And let's move it down to old business. Let's put it next to the ordinance to, we have to amend that ordinance, so that's our discussion, that's site discussion. Yeah. So I think the point is you want to try to get the site plans done before we're doing, right? All right. So we'll just move that the White Creek parking lot up to B. Right?
Yeah.
And then C, D, and E would be the sign standards, the ordinance, and the memo. Clear as mud? All right. So we're going to take 9B out of new business. Okay. Under old business, number 10, A will stay the same. What is currently D for David will become B. And then C would be the sign standards, D, the ordinance, and E, the Reed versus Gilbert memo.
Would we not need the B versus the memo before we discuss it? So,
Mr. Johnson, do you think we need to have the discussion on that memo prior to the other sign ordinance?
No,
Thanks.
no.
Okay. Okay. All right. Clear as mud? All right, so we have a second on that. Everybody else, for that part, let's just, and then any other changes that you see on the agenda we need to address? Okay, so all in favor of approving the agenda with those changes, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no? Motion carried, thank you. Public comments, if you would like to share what's on your mind with us, we'd love to hear from you. You can just step up to the microphone, give us your name and address.
Hi, I'm Dwayne McIntyre, 350 Needlewood. Haven't been up here in a while, so I want to give you some updates of what's going on. Library, as you know, is basically done. We do have a couple little housekeeping things to get finished up there, but some of the other things just kind of keep you in the loop we're working on. We're working with a hotel. We're getting maybe closer, but not close enough I can tell you what's going on, where and when, but it's getting closer. We've had some interest in Cedar Springs area for apartments, and as I think most of you know, we badly need them. So, but they're in a study process right now to make sure that they can, mathematically make sure it's feasible. But working with a guy that owns property here in Cedar on trying to get a mid-scale sit-down restaurant out by the freeway. And I don't know if any of you ever heard of DNR Sports, but they are still in the hunt, I think. I don't know if they're going this fall or not, though. I couldn't get that out of Randy last time I talked to him. So, but anyways, we've got a lot of cool things happening, and it's just a matter of getting our T's crossed and our I's dotted. So, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kurt Mabey, Community Building Development Team. I'm here to speak in support of the micro cannery. I think it's a wonderful idea for the CarQuest building. If you don't know the history of that, that was a tractor dealership at one point in time. That's why the shop's in the back, and then it was a Ford dealership at one time, then the CarQuest. And for them to be willing to come in and use that building and those facilities, I don't know if I could think of a better use for that, especially the long-term plans that they have with us. So I would highly encourage the City Planning Commission to back this endeavor. It'll be a good use of the outlot, it'll be a good use of the back of the building, it'll be a good use of the front of the building. So, I think and not only that, for the people that are proposing from my meetings before here several months ago, good people to have on board in Cedar Springs. So, thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on with our agenda. Commissioners, any item 7, any conflicts of interest or ex parte communication that you may need to report to us about the items that are on our agenda this evening? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Our public hearings, as you noted, have both been rescheduled for our September meeting. So please make note of that, and that's both of those meetings have been moved to September 5. So we'll move to new business. Item A, in your packet, if you need to look at the information, it begins on page 9, I believe, in your packet. The escrow policy recommendation, we discussed this last month, and so now you can actually see it in writing there. Mr. Womack, any comments that you'd like to make on that?
No, other than the fact that I think it's about time we have this. This helps protect the city from applicants and developers who come into the city, present a plan that is not approved of by the Planning Commission. They rack up bills with the city planner, the city engineer, the city attorney, and then walk away without paying the city for those services. This would just kind of take a bite out of applicants' ability to do that.
And as we noted last month, this is not unique to us. Most municipalities have something very similar. So this is just a holding of the funds, just to ensure payment. So.
Mr. Owens, I should point out that we did change this a little bit, I believe, from last time. The finance director decided she wanted to work with a fee schedule. So you'll see at the top of page 2, she included a fee schedule. On the left-hand side, you'll see estimated project cost, which would be something the developer would have to provide to us. And then the escrow amount on the right-hand side. It kind of helps take the guesswork out of, well, how much do we think it's going to cost? And that's the only change I believe that's made. Other then to refer back to the fee schedule.
Yes.
There is a, that you said at the end, if they have money left, it'll be returned to them?
Yeah, when I was writing this, I very specifically remembered your comment from last time, and the best I could do is that it would be returned as soon as practically possible.
Okay.
Part of the problem is, we get billed monthly from the planner, engineer, city attorney. So until we get that last monthly billing, it's very difficult for us to return the money, not knowing what the billing's going to be. So the second we pay all the bills, we're going to have to get the money back. It's not our money.
Okay.
So that will be going on to the city council for them to adopt that.
And page 2, you got your costs in there, $0 to $10,000 is $500. But then below in your next paragraph, you say that it cannot go below $500. So
Yeah.
that makes no sense. So it should be either $1,000 or $750 for the bottom one.
You know what, I think I looked at that, and I had the same immediate reaction. I guess I'll have to refer this to the finance director for clarification. I think it might be, with a project that costs less than $10,000, you're probably not even going to get the city planner, city attorney, and whatnot involved, because that's a very small project. So I think the hope is if you have $500, that it's kind of more just an insurance policy than anything else. But I can ask the finance director to come up with some clarifying language for the meeting on Thursday.
And then, once this is finalized by council, can you get the final version of it back to us?
Sure,
So that we're
absolutely.
aware of.
And you may want to make that as part of your motion to have that language clarified.
Okay. So we're just going to make a recommendation to city council on this. So somebody like to propose that in form of motion?
I'll make a motion that we recommend the city council to pass the escrow policy giving us for the grantor.
Is there support for that?
Did you include
Grantor.
Yeah. Any other discussion on that? All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no? Motion carries. We'll send that on to council. All right, so in our revised agenda now, we're moving to B, formerly C, there in your, for K&A commercial, industrial, reviewing that site plan application, special land use. In your packet, that information starts on page 27, if you'd like to refer to that there. Mr. Johnson, why don't you walk us through your memo?
Project before you is a request by K&A Commercial Industrial Painting. Ron Carter is the applicant. He is here this evening if you have questions for him. This meeting tonight is to review the preliminary site plan, and then if you're comfortable with what is being proposed, we would ask you to set a public hearing for your meeting, I believe, on September 5th. All special land uses require a public hearing, and they also require a site plan to be submitted with that. I've been in touch with Mr. Carter for the past month or so. This is the second site plan he submitted, and it is an existing use. He would be occupying the building at 84 Ash Street, currently occupied by Vans Plumbing and Heating. In the information that Mr. Carter has provided you, and I'll give him a chance to embellish that, they want to move a painting contractor business in there with no more than 4 employees. There would be some storage of trailers and equipment in the rear. There is parking in the front, and he's provided information showing a number of improvements to the exterior of the building. I think you have my report dated July 28th. One of the things, items that came up during the course of this review is that the Planning Commission held a public hearing and then the mixed-use zoning district requirements, so that building and painting contractors and those kinds of businesses could be allowed in the mixed-use zone with the special land use. You recommended approval of that amendment to the council. I don't know if the council's approved it or not.
Mr. Colbeck?
Yeah, they approved that.
They have approved that. Then we can proceed with this application. I thought they would, but I didn't know that for sure. Our ordinance isn't real clear on requirements for special land use or site plans when they're taking over existing buildings. So in light of that, my report is more or less requesting the applicant to tell us what's there and what changes he might be making to that. A number of the requirements that we normally see on a new site plan simply don't apply in this case. So we're looking for information that are going to tell us what's there and the type of improvements they're going to make. I believe you have been provided this site plan. Some of the other information that they provided us is maybe not what you're normally used to seeing. There are photographs in there that says this bush is coming out, this side of the building is going to become painted, and that sort of thing. It's up to you whether you think that's sufficient enough to process and give you enough information to approve that. So you may have those questions for Mr. Carter. Typically, if it's a brand new building, they're going to give us architectural elevations. This is an existing building, and they are going to make some significant improvements to that, which I think will be a real asset to that neighborhood. But again, we have to try to treat applicants close to the same as we can, given the situation. The plan that they've given us, dated July 25th, meets most of the requirements I pointed out in my report. Most of those items were based on a different site plan. He's now provided existing land uses, dimensions of the parking spaces. The dumpster is not shown, but it will have to be screened. And then some of the landscaping requirements. Again, our ordinance isn't real clear as to whether we can utilize existing landscaping that's there or whether we have to require new landscaping. That may be one of the amendments we want to take up in the future. Item 8 in my report talks about requiring that the existing mercury vapor light be replaced with a contemporary cutoff fixture. That's kind of a minor repair, maybe something that you wish to talk to the applicant about that. And other information has been provided to you. So with that, I would just ask if there's any questions for myself or if you have any for the applicant.
You said that you didn't know if the site is served by a well or public water,
That I do not know.
or septic system, and does the city require connection to water and sewer?
Yeah, I think we do if it's readily accessible at that location. So I think it would be best for the planning commission to inquire from Mr. Carter whether there is a sump or a well at that location.
I think there's a septic system. I think that's,
Yeah, there's a septic system. It is connected to city water.
so it does have water, it does not have channels.
Any other questions, Mr. Johnson? Okay. Mr. Carter, you want to add anything? Appreciate all the pictures and it's very helpful.
They're approved and
It
whatnot.
does. Shows us exactly what you're planning.
Our goal is to try to get everything spruced up and cleaned up for this year. Long-term goal, we'd like to see put on metal siding on the whole on that barn structure itself to enclose that. And then we're going to paint the roofs also, and it's on there.
Do you know somebody who could paint it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're gonna make it look nice, but it's gonna paint, right?
So as far as the green space in the back, it's already there.
Right.
There's some, there's fencing there that would be nice to maybe replace someday, depending on the neighbors. We have to talk to them about it. But there's a hedge line in the back of that property on the south side that's about 20 feet high, so there's plenty of screening there.
Sure.
And I know Darren's going to be moving out his semi-trailer that's there now, and he's got a bunch of pipe racks, so all of that, there's a cement pad that goes along that whole west side, and it'll be used for our parking of our trailers and our equipment, so. And as far as employees, I mean, we will incidentally have people maybe work in there to help clean up stuff, or if we have a rare occasion to, site or finish, shop finish some doors or something like that, but otherwise it's all our work's done on site, off-site from there. Yep.
I drove by the site, and it looks like there's a lot of rock around the barn.
Yeah, that's where I want to, right now we're just going to want to freshen it up just so we get in. Yeah, and then, but, what our game plan is to put sheet metal siding on the outside of that barn and then flash probably all the trim. And we won't see any of that rotted wood. Maybe we'll have to replace some of those pieces. Well, as far as the painting, we want to get that done this year, this season. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we can do it this year because this is our workload. A lot of the stuff will be self-performing, so I'd imagine next spring, and it will be realistically when we'll get the funds up. Right now we're trying to get all our funds to purchase the property and get in.
Can I ask a quick question, just to clarify? On your site plan application, we've got on number 3, served adequately by essential public facilities and services such as highways, streets, police, fire protection, drainage, structures, refuse, disposal, water and sewer facilities, or schools. You have no checked. Why would that be?
The part B for the sewage.
Okay, that's what we thought, but I just wondered. And why? Because you have a septic tank?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as I'm told, the sewer line does not go down that street to the end.
Okay.
You guys have any other questions? Anything you want to see in his final site plan for the special land use hearing next time? Do you have any thoughts on, or, I don't know if the commissioners think about the light, but,
Yeah, that's not a problem. We can take that med 3 big route.
Okay.
Put in something more suitable. Just only a security light goes back there.
So you're not lying on the east. Is that front and whole block in the
Yes. Yeah, so they're actually onto our lot line. So that, if you see where that cement pad is, 6 inches of that cement pad is onto that property line. So that there used to be an existing building that was actually on the property. From the neighborhood that burnt down, that garage burnt down.
It looks like there's a building goes back and then there's a fence.
Yeah, the neighbor has like a wire fence further back there. So there's like 30 to 36 inches worth of alleyway going back there. Probably need some trees that are growing into the building and clean it up so we can get it painted. Then we'll probably fence it off so kids can get access and walking back there. They had issues with that before breaking out the windows. I guess there's a big raccoon back there, but I haven't seen where he's come from, but that's what the neighbor says.
Any other questions, John?
It seems like we still have a question on section, this would be number 6 on Mr. Johnson's comments about the green belt, where about the family dwelling, and whether or not we have to address that, considering it's an existing use. I'm not sure I have an opinion one way or the other, but just that this is something that we need to come to a conclusion one way or the other.
Sorry, Mr. Tomlin, we're having a hard time hearing you back here.
Excuse me, so that would be number 6 on Mr. Johnson's letter from the 28th, referring to the 10-foot wide green belt and then changing the use of the existing structure. Mr. Johnson, I believe, just referred to that, and that he was looking for us to interpret that section. as to whether or not it applies in this case.
Sure. So if I may, just for one brief second, this is definitely something the city planner and I are intending on approaching and working out with you guys, obviously, so in the future it's not a question. Unfortunately, I don't have any ability to direct it at this moment in time. It is an existing building. I don't know particularities of the property would prevent him from having a green belt of any kind. But my greater trepidation, and I think the city planner would agree with me, and I don't need to be offensive to Mr. Carter in any way, but these are kind of amateurish, elevations and plans that are being provided to you. So I think the more important question for the planning commission right now is to determine whether Mr. Carter has presented enough information that you feel justified and warranted in understanding what he's intending to do. And I guess an ancillary question of that is whether you want to require the green belt.
What is there now?
There's 16 feet worth of green space there in the back on the south side. It's on the site plan.
Is that what we're talking about?
And there is, it requires 10 feet. So from the fence to the paved parking lot in the back, there's 16 feet. Except for the southwest corner, which is all concrete.
Forgive us, we're trying to do this digitally, and we're flipping back and forth, so if you hear me scrolling like crazy,
Yeah.
we're about 40 pages away from certain information, going back and forth, trying to see everything here.
So I'm looking at page 37. That seems to provide the best diagram for what we're talking about.
So are we trying to, are we trying to, okay, if there's already 16 feet there, are we trying to determine whether we want new? Because there's already 10 foot there, right?
Because the distance, you need a 10-foot landscape screen, whether you would require them to provide additional trees, or there are trees there now.
Right.
Or this would require evergreen trees 20 foot out center.
Oh, different kind of
Different kind of
trees.
trees.
I see what you're saying.
Most of the trees that are there now are older trees, specimen type trees, but they do provide a screen for the house that is to the south. So, if you need more information or want to visit the site and make a judgment for yourself whether what's there is sufficient or if additional landscaping should be provided, that feedback can be provided this evening or at the public hearing.
I'm personally loath to tell someone to go cut down a lot of existing trees to then replace them with other trees.
Right.
That's not, I'm not interested in doing that. I just wanted to make sure that we were addressing the questions we
Right,
had in the letter
exactly, yeah.
and not just glossing over them.
Especially being it's an existing building, not starting from scratch.
Right. That's where Okay, I have one more question. If we were to send this to, city council right now,
This doesn't go to city council.
this is just through us, so it's up to us. Okay.
The process from here would be there's a final site plan and public hearing next month.
Right.
At that point, you
Then it goes.
progress.
Yeah. So if we don't get enough information, they might not look at it.
I'm sorry.
If we don't get enough information, they might not look at it.
City council.
The city council will not look at this.
It's just us.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that we're not going to waste time. That's my. Okay. All right.
I don't see any problem with the 16-foot wide green space right there now at trees. It's an existing building. I'm not sure we should be doing it as a new development.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any thoughts on that? So,
We need an actual 3D picture, do more for me to see on
The 3D pictures.
so are we in agreement then that we're not looking to plant any more trees there? Is that?
Already existing.
Right. So, all right. So next month then we will see final site plan and special land use. Those two will, special land use will come up on our public hearing for that. Okay. So as, if you want to drive by over there and take a look, right over here. Yes, sir.
One more thing, that is, the information that was presented to you tonight, including the site plan, as well as the photographs and the building exteriors, while they're not, prepared by a professional architect or landscape architect, when you get to the public hearing, and if you decide to approve it, you would make approval of the special land use contingent upon compliance with those proposed photographs or drawings, so that we have some way to make sure that those occur as presented. And so if they're not detailed enough, so that we can go out and make sure that what they've done matches with the picture, that's what I'm concerned about.
Okay.
So I guess that's, are you looking, Commissioners, do you need more details so that the way we can approve?
I guess my question would be, can the remaining details be handled administratively between now and next month, so that if anything new could come to the table before we have the special land use hearing? I mean, it sounds like there are a couple minor details that will have to be ironed out, that you'd like to see more details so it can be enforced if necessary. If that could be worked out between the manager, planner, and the applicant in the next month, and then that would clarify what we're doing when we go through this process next month.
Well, you set the public hearing for September 5th. There is time for a different site plan to be submitted. But the one you have in front of you that's dated the 25th of July complies with items 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and then arguably 8 in my report. So he's done a pretty good job of telling us what's there. Again, this is an existing building. They want to change the use, and we have to be, I think, reasonable in terms of what we can require to be shown when somebody just moves into an existing building. The fact that it's a special use permit gives you a little more latitude to require things, rather than if it was just straight site plan approval. But again, once you approve it, that becomes binding, and he has to comply with that. So we want to make sure that it can be enforced based on the drawings and the photographs that he's provided.
Let me clarify that. Are there items here, because it sounds like you just listed a partial list of the things you were looking for have been addressed, in your opinion. Are there items that we have not addressed up here at the moment that you'd like us to go further into? Because honestly, there's a lot of items here, so it's difficult for us to keep track of where you are, especially when there's a lot of different back and forth on these correspondences. Are there any remaining items that we have not yet covered you would like to see us address here before this goes any further? Or are the things that remain just dotting I's and crossing T's that could be handled administratively outside of this hearing?
Well, given my report, I believe he's complied with everything except maybe number 4, which is showing us the dumpster location, and that he will comply with the screening. He has provided a narrative that gives us the number of employees. I think what I need to hear from you and what the applicant needs to hear from you would be the other information, which is the hand-drawn sketches for the building itself and what's going to be exterior improvements, and the photographs. Is that sufficient for you to make an informed decision?
I'm seeing on one of his responses that number 4, dumpster wall and screen wall will be located on the southeast corner of storage yard. So we know where it is, but we don't know enough about what it looks like.
I'd like to see that just added to the plan, and then our ordinance is pretty specific in terms of screening the dumpster. It has details in there on how to do that. So that can be followed up on if he shows us on the site plan.
More likely I'll put it on the southwest corner, but there's concrete there already. There's a concrete on where he has it right now.
Okay.
So that's all that'll be cleared out. Dump truck, refuge structure, and pick up the dumpster and wall. So I'll just have to have a screen wall in that location.
So that's what we're saying, if you can put that on, like redraw the plan or add that to the plan, so that way we have,
Like, I can make a list of what we're doing.
yeah,
So the city can use that as a checklist.
yeah.
We're painting the road, we're painting the siding.
Right, because that's what we're gonna approve next week is gonna be what you have submitted. So, the next month, sorry, next month, in September. So that's what we, on the plan that you already have, put on there where the dumpsters is, how you're gonna screen it. These points that he's addressed, just make sure that that stuff's on there, so that way we don't have to delay anything. Move along. So that's why, once again, is there anything else that you would like to see then on that site plan that comes back to us in September for site plan approval and special land use approval? Any details that you want on there that you don't see right now?
Pave and all that is listed on the site plans, or is it?
That's on other information that he's given us.
Yeah.
It's part of the application material, so we would,
Oh, it's on the application.
we would refer to that in terms of
All right.
any conditions of approval. But keep in mind, at the public hearing, you're approving two things. You're approving the use, and then the site plan that goes with the use. So the use itself is this the right place for it? Is the operational characteristics, the in and out of the trailers, what times you get there in the morning, operate, does it bother the neighbors? If you can go here, is what you're going to be asked to consider. And if it does, can we put conditions on it to make sure that it fits? And part of those conditions would be what he shows us on the site plan, and what he's told us in terms of comings and goings of employees, and what the impact on the neighborhood is. So that's kind of the big picture of what we're going to be tackling at the public hearing.
So, anything else you want to see on that site plan for next month?
Yeah.
Yep.
What is going to be stored in the yard?
Well, we have some utility trailers, some forest trailers, an 8-foot and a 12-foot. And a lift trailer that we use to haul our scissor lifts and things, our haul trailer.
Okay, so it's all, it's not product that's going to be stored in the yard.
Right. I have a couple, work vans, but those are usually stored at my house, or we like to store those in the back too. So we'll go around all the garages.
Okay, we're all set? All right, so we'll look at that. Site
So
plan.
everything we're doing is cosmetic. And then everything else pretty much changing the building.
Good? Okay. Thank you. So, next item are the site plan application for O'Reilly Auto Parts in your packet that begins at page 58. We'd like to look at that here just there. Mr. Johnson, you want to walk us through your notes? I guess maybe 57, so.
All right, giving you a report dated July 25th, and this is for preliminary site plan submitted by O'Reilly Auto for a location 17 Mile Road up by the highway. So what they want to do is construct a new building, auto parts. They want to split off a parcel as shown on your site plan from the family farm and home property. And then access would be from the interior of the parking lot. They would not have a new curb cut. My report, the first item has to do with the lot split. By creating a new lot for O'Reilly Auto, the existing family farm and home property would then not have enough frontage to comply with the lot frontage requirements of the zoning ordinance. It's my understanding that they have a family farm and home has applied for a variance to create a lot for their parcel with less than 200 feet of road frontage. So if that variance is not approved, then it would be up to O'Reilly to try to figure out how to create a lot for their particular project. For that reason alone, you would not want to act on this until that variance issue is settled. Any questions on that particular item? Second item that we picked up on is that that area where O'Reilly Auto would go is removing 65 parking spaces, which were approved as part of the site plan for family farm and home. They need to provide information to us that those 65 spaces, either all or some of them, are not required to be, by our zoning ordinance, to be devoted to family farm and home use. So they had this report. We have not heard back from them. We could look that information up ourselves. I think it's their job to provide that to us. That's the second item which may be a stumbling
Family
block.
farm and home that has to report back to us, right?
It would be
Or O'Reilly.
O'Reilly. I sent this to O'Reilly. They're the applicant, so
Okay.
they're the ones that are displacing the 65 parking spaces.
Okay.
And so we want to make sure that those aren't approved for family farm and home. Otherwise, that would be a violation of the zoning ordinance. So we're waiting to hear back from them on that. Third item, the setback from their O'Reilly property line, their proposed property line, for the building is required to be 40 feet. Their site plan shows it's only going to be 12 feet. They would need a variance to put the building where they have proposed. Item 4 in my report requires the parking lot to be set back 10 feet from the east or the side lot line. They propose a 5-foot setback. My reading of the zoning ordinance in section 40-513 parent B appears to give the planning commission the ability to approve parking lot locations that are less than what's required by the ordinance. Same thing with number 5. Our ordinance requires 39 parking spaces. They are providing only 25. Again, my reading of the ordinance looks like the planning commission could approve that. I'd like to talk that over with the city manager, maybe the city attorney, and the history of that. If that's not what you normally do, the ordinance seems to indicate that you can. They may be in line for other variances as well. The ordinance requires parking lot lights to be limited to 20 feet. They have parking lot lights at 27.5. Should I go on? Yes. Landscaping requirements requires 8 canopy trees and 5 in the front yard. They do not meet that requirement. Signs, they do not meet the sign requirements, although that's a separate permit, so they do have time to correct that. Other than that, they comply with everything else in the ordinance. I would recommend, or at least bring to your attention, the fact that it's a brand new project, and you may want to consider having a sidewalk that will extend from 17 Mile up along the west side, I believe, of the property into the end of O'Reilly's, to just allow people to walk from 17 Mile Road, where there is a sidewalk, along the west side of O'Reilly's and up into the family farm and home. So if you look at the site plan, you can see what I mean, where that sidewalk could be located. So again, I sent this off to O'Reilly. I have not heard back from them, but there are a number of items that do not comport with our zoning ordinance. Again, this is a preliminary site plan. We would not bring this back to you until we have a site plan that is more closely matched with our zoning ordinance requirements. Any questions or anything else I can provide?
business?
Well, that's,
Who's parking in front of that building?
There's been a change between the township rules and the city rules when we took over the 425 Green area. I don't know when that project was completed. There's also signage there that doesn't comport with city rules. And I'm not opposed to allowing, certain variances and certain changes, but that's one of them.
That was just, are we talking about the one by Family Fair? It's already there? Yeah, that was just recently. That was after Family Fair left, because that was the gas station.
Well, and then it was before I was here.
Right. Well, there was some problem.
yeah, and I think they had to apply for, they have to go to like the ZBA for their sign or something, so, if I remember correctly. Right, so maybe we'll see what we get back from them. All right, so moving to old business. Letter A is the micro cannery site plan special land use in your packet. It's page 81 or 82. My numbers got a little off, so 81. So we have that on there. So Mr. Johnson, you want to walk us through your report?
Mr. Johnson's report to 83.
Yeah.
Need to notice second, that's the one you have?
Correct.
This is, Catherine is here tonight as well. This is a request for a special land use and site plan at 70 North Main Street. That was the former location of the CarQuest building. That property is zoned B2, and this particular use has been classified as production of merchandise on the premises. So our zoning ordinance allows that type of use to be approved by the Planning Commission as a special land use. This is not going to the City Council. And again, you're looking at this tonight for preliminary site plan review, to ask questions of the applicant, get informed about the project, and then schedule a public hearing for September 5th. I believe you have a site plan. I've been going back and forth with the applicant to get as much information as we can to provide you with a thorough site plan so you know what the project is and what's there. Again, this is an existing building, so we're very interested in what's there, and then what can be improved upon the fact that it's not a brand new project. So that's pretty much how I structured my report in terms of what we're looking for. And again, this is the second iteration site plan that we have. The one you have is dated 31st, I believe. That's the oldest one, isn't it? You have the one that's dated 7/31? I think you do. There's two site plans in your packet. One's dated the 12th of July. This one's dated the 31st of July.
Page 87 is 731.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So my report is based on that site plan. So let me go through my report, and I'll give you a chance to ask questions of myself or the applicant. First of all, under the parking, the site plan shows 9 parking spaces. Our ordinance would require 2 spaces for every 3 employees. Their application information states there would be no more than 8, so they would need 6 parking spaces. By ordinance, they may prefer to have all 9, but our ordinance would only require 6. There are 2 parking spaces abutting the rear of the building. The area behind the north face is required by ordinance to be 24 feet. In other words, when you back out from a 90-degree space, you're looking at 24 feet. There's not 24 feet there. There's only 17 feet according to the site plan. You can easily park there. You could probably back out. It's an existing situation. I guess we're looking for some feedback whether you think that space should be designated as a space on site or not. Item C under parking requires parking spaces to be 20 feet in the front lot line. As you come into the alley or the space next to the building,
There's parking next to the building that was used by CarQuest at one time. The site plan shows that the first space in would be the barrier-free space. My recommendation would be that they would move that further away from the entrance, simply to comply with the parking requirement, and because there is room to do that, and again, provide a measure of safety for anybody, whether it's a handicapped person or not, getting out of their car, have a little more time to react to somebody pulling in behind them. So I would recommend that they simply designate that space as no parking, move the handicap space further into the site, just to provide a measure of safety. Item D, it requires a 10-foot side setback for vehicle parking. They show 4 spaces facing the north lot line. There's a Cedar Spring Post newspaper building. They have 4 spaces there. I drove by the site tonight. That's heavily wooded. There's a big tree there, a lot of overhanging branches. I don't think the parking lot setback is 10 feet. Again, our ordinance allows you to have some flexibility whether you wish to impose that location requirement or not, so we would look for some feedback from you on that. One of the other things I'd like to bring to your attention for your consideration, and right now that alley is wide enough for two-way. It's not signed for one-way. If that building's going to come back into use, I think it's better if it's just a one-way access into the site for a couple reasons. One, if you're going to have parking along the building, there really isn't room for two-way traffic. Our ordinance would require a 24-foot wide aisle for two-way traffic. Once you have parking along the building, there's not 24 feet remaining for two-way traffic. Second reason to make that one-way is simply as cars are coming into the site, there's no sight distance. You can see people walking on the sidewalk. They can see you. If you're coming out of the site, I think my report reads westbound. Southbound is actually westbound traffic. I got my directions mixed up. But as you come out of there, you've got 2 blind corners. You can't see the car if you're a pedestrian, and if you're driving, you can't see the pedestrian. So I think a safety precaution would be to simply make that what amounts to an alley, but it's on private property, a one-way in and out going to the east. In other words, one way in, but not to come out that way, because they can get out the back way going out on First Street. Number 3, the dumpster screening requirements. They need a 9-foot by 6-foot area of reinforced concrete pavement. We need to have those dimensions called out on the site plan. Again, it's an existing mercury vapor light. We pointed that out with Mr. Carter's project. This is a chance to correct a condition on the site that doesn't meet the current ordinance requirements. It's rather inexpensive, but again, it does face a residential neighborhood. Mercury vapor lights just cast the light in any direction that it can. Now we have ordinances that require kind of a shoebox fixture where the light shines directly down. Landscaping. 10-foot green belt abuts a single-family dwelling is required by ordinance. To their credit, the applicant has tried to comply with that. They show a green belt along both property lines going out to First Street, and I believe that would meet the ordinance requirements. We'd like them to show the limits of the paved areas and the width of the driveway, and then comment on the sign. It can be up to 10% of the wall facing North Main Street or 100 square feet, and they would need a separate permit for that. So that completes my report. The applicant has done a good job of trying to comply with our ordinance requirements to tell us what's there. Again, it's an existing building, so we don't require everything to be shown. This is a special use permit, so when we do have the public hearing, we want to decide whether this is the right use for the project, and then also get some feedback to the applicant tonight on what else you might like to see in the site plan and just some general questions.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Johnson?
Directionally, this one, the one-way is coming off Main
Yep.
and into the other parking lot that goes into First Street.
Yes.
What about the one that comes past the pole?
Well, that's not on their property.
Oh, okay.
It's probably, they're both on private property, but people just use it because they always have. So we're just recommending that stay open.
I know he mentioned having that cut back to the fence line of the
close to property, so that's why it was so huge, just to go up.
I see, yeah.
I do believe that they have that whole grass area along with them parking spaces in there that go to the CarQuest building.
Yeah, but I'm talking from Maple Street going to the south.
You're thinking of the north side of Lois's property, not the south side. None of this,
No, I'm talking about the west side of their property.
none
Along
of that
fence.
goes to this site.
Is this all, cannery done, there's no commercial, like, people don't come there to buy anything?
No, we,
Self-production?
no, basically, we're an engineering firm, and we design and assemble, we wire, pump, debug, and ship.
Okay.
And so usually we have one LPL shipment once a month that would show up, they would back in to the back 16-foot north, we would load them, and the rest of them go in that silver trailer that's parked out front tonight. Behind that.
Yeah, perfect.
Can you interject for a second?
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm Todd Brizia, this is my wife Gina Brizia, and we own Micro Cannery.
Okay, so once again, we're looking for, so that we can, not have to delay this one then for next month when we look at special land use. And then if you approve that, then the site plan here, any details, any other things that you want to see.
I did note on the drawing that the dumpster screening was per the zoning requirement, and I called out that number. I understand that there's a rock wall on the side that would have to be taken, so I did put that on. I didn't put it dimensionally, but I referred to the number.
And as we asked Mr. Carter, how do you feel about changing that light for us?
No problem.
Okay.
You said that you have a city trip to the 40-foot trailer back up to the
It's
building.
20, oh yeah, city truck with a 40-foot trailer, yeah, UPS freight. For the people that deliver bigger stuff on UPS, they'll typically come in and back in, and then there's plenty of room there for them to back in. They do it now in front of their barn, very easily, they just spend a lot more time.
The people parking in the parking lot, they would have to come in.
Yeah, and what they would do is they come down, what's Maple Street, just behind me, is that what
No,
it is?
First.
First, they come down First Street, and then they would basically back in right to the door, and then leave the way they back in.
When Danny redid that parking space, that's kind of how he had it designed, because all the deliveries came through the back, and he made it so that it would not interfere with the parking, because he had enough helpers that they needed out in parking spaces.
I know there are a lot of people coming and going from that parking place to Sue's restaurant, so I didn't know if that would be a problem.
Well, that parking space is actually all theirs.
Yeah.
So,
So, and then, as Mr. Johnson suggested, then for next month, those parking spaces that, where you have the handicap area where you
And I can block that off of the line.
just kind of,
And do you agree with this assessment that it would be better for that to be a one-way through there?
No, we're fine, I have no problem.